You believe in ghosts?
I told you you better back off the ghosts.
You believe in ghosts?
I used to believe a great deal. I still pretty much believe. Pretty much. I think basically this is my entire philosophy on all weirdnesses.
Okay.
If you look back 500 years to what they knew scientifically then, it's superstitious, it's magic, it's ridiculous, it's ignorant, et cetera, et cetera. I believe that that's exactly what we are now to 500 years in the future. So I don't consider it paranormal. I consider it future science.
Ghosts are future science.
Ghosts are future science. Aliens are future science. It's all future science, and I'm down for that. I'm ready to party with the future science.
I'm ready for that. I accept that. My problem is the people that tell ghost stories or those fucking ghost shows.
Those are so bad. They're so faked.
They make me
They're
angry.
so painfully faked. I really believed it for a while. Like, I really absolutely bought into it, hook, line, and sinker.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like there watching there's all different kinds of ghosts, like the ones that look like Ewoks, or not Ewoks, which are the ones that are the first movie, Star Wars, and they like wore their little robes and they were busy. They were like,
Oh.
you know, the first ones
Right.
that they're like,
What were those
we're
things?
selling robots.
Yeah.
I don't know. They didn't really have faces. They just had like cloaks.
They were the robot sellers.
Well,
Yeah.
apparently there are
Yeah.
ghosts that are little cloak creatures. And they scare the crap out of me.
The cloak ones do?
They move fast, and I don't understand what they're doing here. Like, but I mean, you can
But you
explain
believe in them?
demons. You can explain demons if you think about like dog ghosts or wolf ghosts or lion ghosts.
That's a demon?
Could be. They growl. They have like weird eyes. They're hostile. They scratch you. Animal.
So you have a real belief in ghosts? It's
Kind
real.
of,
Kind
yeah.
of. Like not 100%, but you have an open
I
mind.
bump into them sometimes,
For
I
real?
think. And I don't see them, but I feel them and hear them. And like, I know. Go ahead. Look, the little smile. That little smile. That's why I don't. We're talking about it because we're on the Weirdness podcast. But like, I don't talk about it because it just doesn't get a good response.
Well, I'm trying to be open-minded. So when you bump, I believe you. You don't seem like a liar by any stretch of the imagination. But
I have a huge imagination.
I'm sure you
so
do.
I could
You're a very
easily
creative
be
person.
tricking myself into something.
What do you feel? Like what happens?
I just bump into them. Like if you walk into a room, I mean, it happens maybe once a year.
Yeah.
And you walk into a room or you walk somewhere or something's going on and you just feel it. And it's very, very strong. And I talk to them. I just say like, mostly hotel rooms, let's just say. If I'm in a hotel room on tour and I'll either move if I don't like it or I'll just say alone in that room, I'll be like, hi, I'm playing a show at like so-and-so. I'm only here for 2 days, but I really need to get some sleep. You can come to the I tell them they can come to the show if they want.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm like, this is what I do for a living. And I try to like hear and think what they do for a living.
I would be psyched if I was a ghost and I found you. I'm like, this chick's cool. She's going to invite us to a show. I don't even want to scare her. Let her sleep, man. Let her sleep. Fuck that. I got the pots and pans ready.
Right.
I'm ready to make a racket. Let's wake this chick up. Nah, man. Let her sleep. She's cool. Let's go to the show. You want
I
to go to
put
the
them
show?
on my guest list. I'm
That's
like,
nice.
you've got a +1.
That's nice. You don't have to reserve a seat for them. They could be everywhere. Obviously, you have an active imagination. And do you think that maybe you're mind fucking yourself at the time? Like when you're talking out loud, are you doing it because it's comforting? Because you enjoy it?
Probably, but if you asked me on a lie detector test whether I think I really encountered something, I'd say yes.
Whoa.
For sure. I mean, there's been enough experiences in my life that it just seems like just part of future science.
There's a guy named Rupert Sheldrake. He's a scientist, and he believes that things have memory. He thinks that everything has memory. He thinks that's why people don't want to live in haunted houses, don't want to live in a house where someone died. He thinks that objects have memory.
I
And
agree with that.
They can't express it, but that they have it.
I agree with that.
It might be. Well, like we haven't.
I think it's less the object retaining it. I mean, it must be retaining something. I think it's more our psychic ability to perceive
The
the
energy.
past.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think it's more like you see the chair and then you can psychically feel what happened in that chair. I'm not really sure how to... Like, you're not seeing the chair imbued with some aura. You're actually looking into the past.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because I've had dreams that were like prefiguring And
Prefiguring.
I think you can dream, if something's impactful enough, I think you can dream. Okay, let's say something really bad happens to you. Imagine something horrible.
Okay.
I don't know, the studio explodes.
Okay.
A couple months maybe before then, you might have a dream, or let's just say something goes really, really wrong or bad. Nothing traumatic. You might be able to have a dream ahead of time that would be how you would synthesize that traumatic experience, just as if it had happened before and you were dreaming after the fact. Before.
You've had that happen?
I have.
What'd you have it happen with?
I'm saving that for my book.
Really?
Is that
Wow.
okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
But it was a very
Will you
powerful,
tell me after
very,
the show's over?
Yeah, absolutely.
I won't tell any of you. Fuck off.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
But it was very convincing to me and
Really?
hard to explain any other way.
Have you ever had any other sort of psychic premonition?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Do
What?
you remember the last big fire we had in LA when it was like encroaching? and
Really
all?
recently?
Yeah.
That one?
The night before that fire, I was out walking with my son. Again, my son, he's like all over this podcast. I don't know why, because he barely speaks to me at the moment. He's like, yeah, fine, good. Talk to you later. And I just felt incredibly uneasy. And he suffered from asthma when he was young and really badly. So when there was a lot of particulate matter in the air, or if it was just bad air conditions, I would tend to be very worried about him and keep him home, or, inform the teachers or whatever it was. He'd get really bad asthma attacks. And so I have a predisposition to be on the alert. But this was the night before, no fire had started yet. And I just was very anxious, and I couldn't settle down. And I couldn't think for months. I hadn't been like that. And I said to him, I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I feel kind of unsafe. If something happens tomorrow, you have to be my witness that I sensed something was coming. Now, you probably think I'm this horrible mother. I never do this. It happens I think I've said that to him twice in our entire life. And I forgot about it. The next day, I forgot about it. I didn't think about it at all until, we were socked in this sort of brown muck as we are, and the sun became the eye of Sauron, and everyone's freaking out, and we're looking at all these images, and I was so distracted by all these images that I completely forgot my sense the night before. And what I think that was, until I remembered it, then I called up and I'm like, and I think it's more like I don't know something's coming, but I have maybe the envelope of time is a little bit more mushy than we think. Maybe we perceive time as very orderly and very linear, but maybe it's really not. And it could be pushing back, like the experience. And maybe I had the experience before I perceived the experience, or I don't know what that is, but that happens to me a lot.
I've heard people describe...
Nobody likes hearing about it, by the way. I never
Why?
talk about this stuff in my real life because nobody likes it.
What do you mean?
It makes people uncomfortable and they look at you funny. So I just never talk about it, except for on the podcast weirdness.
Why would it make them uncomfortable?
It just does.
I'm fascinated by that because I don't experience it. I've never had a premonition that came true. But I do have a really good ability to know if someone's crazy. I'm really good at that.
Apparently I'm not.
No, you're not crazy.
No, I don't know if someone's crazy.
You don't? You've known a
I have
lot of
really
crazy
big
people?
blind spot there.
That's weird. You can pick out fires in the distance,
right?
but you can't pick out nuts.
Yeah, not so much.
I don't have any psychic ability though.